What's the lesson? Well, the lesson is that things happen at times that makes peace go away. Sometimes brothers in the congregation at Bethel on a construction site may react like Ephraimites. Sometimes we react like Ephraimites. Why didn't you ask my opinion? I was supposed to be involved in this. Why'd you call me last minute when you knew you needed this 2 weeks ago, and now I have to drop everything and help you out? See, that happens. We're only human. Well, when it happens, how will we react? You see, unity is more important than who is right and who is wrong. And Gideon understood that simple truth. And unity is so important today. It was interesting, a beautiful Watchtower article, 2014, December 15th. And the article was entitled, "Facing the End of This Old World Together." And it stated this. It said, "One of the darkest periods in human history nears. For God's people, it will be a time for unity." It goes on to say, during the coming time of trouble for this system, we will have to be truly united. So let me ask you, do you think it's any coincidence that here where we are in the stream of time, that we see Jehovah pulling his organization closer and closer together in unity? Is it any coincidence that we hear over and over again the need for peace and for unity? No. You see, as this world gets more and more divided, fragmented, fighting, we need to pull tighter and tighter together in unity. And that requires that all of us work on these beautiful qualities of humility, mildness, and patience.
We've been hearing from governing body helper Robert Luccioni, who makes a cameo in the April 2023 JW Broadcasting episode. This is obviously a segment where he is giving comments at a morning worship before Bethelites, and it's somehow been included in this particular month's JW Broadcasting episode. Those words are still echoing in my ears. This is exactly the mentality that's expected of you as a Jehovah's Witness.
You see, unity is more important than who is right and who is wrong. And Gideon understood that simple truth.
Unity is more important than who is right and who is wrong. Wow. Well, we all know that that's how it works in the Jehovah's Witness religion, but I guess, thank you, Robert Luccioni, for putting it so blatantly as a simple truth that's just a given. This is, for me, the beauty of morning worship talks in particular, because he's giving his talk, or this little sermon, in front of the Bethel family. So he's not getting any pushback. He knows he can just say stuff and it will all make total sense. He's not necessarily knowing that this particular morning worship will be used in a JW Broadcasting episode, or may perhaps be watched by people who aren't Jehovah's Witnesses and haven't been indoctrinated, so that his words are nonsensical. Unity is more important than who is right and who is wrong. What if the governing body is wrong? What if the faithful and discreet slave, self-appointed, what if they're wrong? What if it's not God's channel? According to his logic, and this reasoning that should just be commonly accepted, it's a simple truth. According to Robert Luccioni's logic, that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether the governing body is wrong, because what comes first is unity. It matters that we're together. We may all be wrong, but at least we're all wrong together. And then there's this bizarre, do you think this is any coincidence thing?
So let me ask you, do you think it's any coincidence that here where we are in the stream of time, that we see Jehovah pulling his organization closer and closer together in unity? Is it any coincidence?
Isn't it any coincidence? In what way? He starts making an argument about this being unique, or this being an interesting anomaly in the stream of time. And then it's almost like he forgets his point and just goes wandering off. It's so incoherent. It's not a coincidence. It's exactly what you would expect of an organization that is repeatedly, as you then go on to argue, reminding its followers of the need for unity. There's no coincidence at all in that context. I know what you mean, by the way. What you mean is, this must be God's organization because look at how much unity there is. That's essentially the point he's trying to make, rather clumsily. But isn't that what all cults have? Don't all cults either have or strive for unity where everyone needs to be of the same mind? If anything, the fact that Jehovah's Witnesses are continually harping on about unity and sending out letters shaming Jehovah's Witnesses for not yet coming back to the meetings in person and staying on Zoom, and the whole thing about the COVID vaccine. I mean, obviously I'm pro-vaccine, but there was a real issue there with unity where very clearly a huge percentage of Jehovah's Witnesses were anti-vaxxers, to the point where the organization had to put their foot down and start telling, or very strongly suggesting, that certainly Bethelites as a minimum needed to be vaccinated. Where was the unity there? You know, the more you have to impose unity, the more you're showing that basically you have a problem when it comes to unity. You're having to put your foot down to correct this issue where not everyone is on the same page, which is entirely what you can expect in a man-made religious organization or any kind of organization. There are always going to be, to some extent, people pulling in different directions, so that there needs to be authority imposed. But no, there is absolutely no coincidence that there is some form of unity in the Jehovah's Witness religion, albeit not an absolute unity, but it is still unity. No coincidence whatsoever, because that's what all cults strive for.